thing. So the next thing is that Verstappen overrode Pierre Vacher, who's the technical director for Red Bull, not the team principal, but the technical director. Vacher had a war with Newey, and that's one of the reasons Newey left, because the new owner of Red Bull wanted to go in the direction of Vacher with the car and the floor and everything, and Newey wanted to go in another direction. So last week in Monza, Vacher told Verstappen that the wing was too narrow, that they should use a wider wing spec. And Verstappen said, no, we're going to do it my way. And it paid off. And nobody believed. And Rosberg said that wing setup that Verstappen used, that he thinks Verstappen is one of the top 5 drivers ever because of his skill. He said Hamilton, Fangio, Schumacher, Senna, and Verstappen. He said that takes a lot of skill to do that. So what you're seeing now is that Verstappen, and this is what he does with the team and setup, he works with the engineers and gives feedback. And he knew, and that thing worked. And not only did that wing work to the point at which he got race pace, I mean, that he got one lap pace and beat McLaren, he had better race pace than McLaren also. And he told Vacher, I know what I'm talking about. I know this car. Trust me. And afterwards, Vacher was like, I would be embarrassed. You're an engineer and you got overridden by but maybe that's what F1 is supposed to be. Listen to the driver. But Vacher said, exceptional, brilliant. Congratulations to Verstappen, because this thing worked excellently. So now that they don't have Newey, and now that they haven't really defined what they're going to do as concept, this team has to follow the direction of Verstappen. And Verstappen himself has humbled himself and says that he has to alter his driving because he knows his driving is part of the understeer problem. So what he's doing is he's taking ownership of his mistakes, altering his driving, but at the same time giving feedback. And also they have a new floor. If you look at that car, it hasn't looked so stable all year. I know it's because it's on a high-speed track, but in general, even on the other high-speed tracks, the car was a little bit unstable. So it seems like Red Bull is overcoming the problems they had 2 years ago. Helmut Marko said that they don't rely on wind tunnel data anymore. They rely on what Verstappen is saying. And he said the reason they're doing that, he said the truth. He said the wind tunnel is out of date, it's old, it's unreliable, and they don't have money. This is a team that's openly telling you that we have problems. But it's not like how you see with Ferrari where people try to hide and lie and blame. You know Helmut Marko, he just tells the truth. He said, we can't use our wind tunnel because our wind tunnel is crap. That's true. But you don't see him say it's everybody's fault. He said, okay, so now we're going to use intuition and follow, he said our drivers, he didn't say Max, feedback from our drivers in developing the car. That's not ideal because you want to have a concept. Because you still have to have a concept. You have to give the drivers a basic characteristics, or a basic characteristics, or a basic setup. Not a basic setup, but a basic type of car. I think they call it, what do they call it? Characteristics, basic characteristics. Then they give you feedback on how to alter it. The drivers can't give you the concept. But while Red Bull waits to solve that problem of the concept, maybe they're working on something for next year. They have to let their drivers do it. And if they let their drivers, like Verstappen, alter what they have now, then they don't need a concept, because the concept will be whatever it was 2 or 3 years ago as far as aerodynamics. And now it just evolves, but based on the drivers giving feedback. Very professional by Verstappen. Verstappen is matured. And we're seeing now why he's the best driver in the world. It's not just because he has speed. He works very hard every week from free practice 1 to Q3 to make the car drivable. And he said, and not only does he make it drivable from race to race, he'll say, this is a general problem we have. We have lack of rear stability. Part of it is because of my driving style. So in other words, he doesn't just give advice set up per week. He gives overall advice saying that today we did well, but we still have this problem with braking. We still have this problem with stability, which is not a question of setup. It's a question of bringing upgrades. And he tells them what type of upgrades to bring. What are your thoughts, Mr. Johnny?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
That was a long.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it was all fine and good when they won, but what if Verstappen lost, and
Yeah,
then
but
it
that's
has
life.
been
But the winning, not only, it's not just that they won. The proof is in the pudding. They had more race pace than. So it's not just about winning. It's about how
yeah.
did you win. And also he's won almost, or he's done well. He's had this year with a rubbish car, he's had 5 pole positions. So this is more than just winning and say hindsight. He's saying that we won, and this is why we won. We won because because we narrowed the wing. He didn't just say that we won. And the telemetry shows that that worked. So it's not just, oh, ad hoc afterwards. You say, what do they call it? Ad hoc. Oh, you make an excuse, oh, I won. So therefore, what I did was right. Because sometimes you win and you just got lucky. But this doesn't look like luck. And this year,
Yeah.
funny enough, this is actually Verstappen's greatest year. He's being talked more than the champions are winning. Nobody's talking about the guys in the faster car. So this is a pattern that goes to last year in which the team they're not winning a lot and they have problems and they mention their problems. But when they've been winning in high speed tracks and see what works with the feedback from Verstappen, and it's not even so much as them saying, "See, we're doing it right." It's so much as they're taking responsibility and they're working through things. I don't know what Ferrari is doing, pumping up tires. I don't know what they're doing. At least we know what Red Bull is doing. Red Bull is telling you what they're doing wrong and what they're doing right and what's working and what isn't working. What's your thoughts, Mr. Johnny? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so but then it's going. I think it's it's all nice, so and I think for Verstappen really made some really good contributions and made and to make sure that what he said that his I mean by overriding what that guy or that the other guy said. I've lost my throat my. But I mean,
okay, let me step in. Can I step in quickly?
Yeah, step in.
So I wanted to say that it looked like common sense.
Yes.
Narrow that
Sorry,
rear
before
wing.
you go, that's what Marco said. He said we're using common sense rather than the wind tunnel. That's what he said. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, but you need to combine that common sense with the ability of a driver, because when you narrow the wing in order to reduce the downforce, so you're quicker on straight line speed, but you're less stable in the corners and when you're turning in, which is I remember Mercedes had the same issue. They were very stable in the corners, but not very good in the straights. And if you look at Sonoda finished around 10th or 12th. He finished way down. I don't know whether he had the
10th
same
is okay. That 10th is still okay. But here's the thing. They were working on the Temple of Speed. The Temple of Speed doesn't require downforce. It's the lowest
Exactly.
downforce track. So that's where the common sense comes in. You can do that on that track. You can't do that on was it Abu Dhabi? Not Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
You can't do that on that track. If you do that on that track, the tires will go after 2 laps. So that's where the common sense comes in. You can do it on Monza because Monza has absolutely no slow speed corners at all, and it's 90% straight. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and I don't know whether the same adjustment was made to Tsunoda's car because he finished way down. I doubt it was, because when you're going to make
Tsunoda doesn't have the skill to have that extreme setup.
That's literally what my next sentence was going to be, is that you couldn't make that adjustment to Tsunoda's car because he wouldn't be able to handle the instability of that car on high speed corners, which is something that.
But Kool-Aid, they did narrow his wing also, just not as extreme.
Not to the same extent.
Pierre Vacher was against narrowing at all. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, because it makes the car harder to drive, more unstable. And as we know, Verstappen has this history of being able to drive and then actually thrive driving cars when they're really twitchy and unstable and right on the edge. And he knows how to take that to lengths that other drivers can't. And I think that synergy that has been working with Red Bull, I don't know how long it's going to last for. I think it'll last for the rest of this season. But next season, when everything changes, he's going to have to look for he's gonna have to dig in and look for different abilities to face new and different challenges when the new rules.
He's up for the challenge. He's just like Schumacher. Let me tell you, the synergy will last so long as they have Marco Verstappen. Verstappen's dad too, because he got Horner kicked out. And Laurent McHugh. Laurent McHugh is quiet. He's an engineer. He doesn't talk. Look what he did with the Red Bull 2 team. They have Haja. That's a family. When you go through chaos, you need something that's grounding. Red Bull has something that's grounding. They may not have superstar engineers. They have engineers who've been there for a long time. They have Helmut Marko. They have Verstappen. Verstappen is the most predictable person in the world, which means he goes to bed at 8 every day and does 15 hours of Verstappen is not a mercurial person. You know what he's going to do. And he likes familiarity, which is why he keeps his dad with him. His dad has been with him since he was 6 years old. Verstappen's godfather was Schumacher. He only knows one thing, racing. So what I'm saying is that the stability of a family may be more important than having high-tech engineers. Look at McLaren.
Matters. it
Yeah,
does matter. And we
maybe the
can
most
see Red
important
Bull have gone through their own cauldron
yeah,
of,
it may
of
be the most
crisis
important thing because
in
Red Bull
track.
has money. Red Bull can bring in engineers. They have money, but they have a nucleus, a group of people who get along. Liam Lawson, Tsunoda, all of them. I don't see any fighting amongst these guys. Even when they promoted Lawson and brought him down, he buckled his head down and he still beat Haja sometimes. You see what I'm saying? Haja fucked up first race of the year. He came back, got on the podium. So to me, Red Bull as an organization has been very successful this year, and they have a driver who's coming third in the drivers' championship.
Yeah, I mean, but they still did have a lot of
They got rid of all that rubbish. They got rid of the
people
main
come and go
problem.
this season, aside from Horner and a couple of other
Who
engineers. So
else?
they've had
Who
their
else?
own challenges as
Who else?
well.
Who else? Other
So
than
they've
Horner,
had
who
their
else?
challenges.
Yeah, but they've had their challenges,
What's that
but they've
other challenge?
survived it. They haven't had any scandals this year, other than and even the way they got rid of this guy wasn't a big scandal. The only scandal they've had in the past 2 years is Horner's sex scandal. If you can't compare the team this year that's been the most in disarray is Ferrari, followed by Mercedes. Now George Russell is refusing to sign his contract at Mercedes. And do you know what Toto
Yeah.
Wolff said on TV? Toto Wolff said on TV that he still wants. He said that this is what he said. He said that the only person who drove well this weekend was Verstappen. Everybody else was rubbish, including our drivers. Do you see throwing his own people under the bus? He he's ruined Antonelli's career, throwing Antonelli on a team with no mentors, no technical advice. I heard that they don't even give Antonelli advice on how to solve problems in driving. They don't do that in Mercedes. The drivers just go out and drive. So to me, I'm going to say kudos to Red Bull. They've weathered the storm. Even for what's his name to come 10th, there's 20 drivers in the grid. If Tsunoda comes 10th, that's good because it means he's still within the top 5 of cars because each team has 2 teams. Who do you want him to beat? Do you want him to beat Lewis Hamilton? Do you want him to beat Alonso? Do you want him to beat the 2 McLaren drivers? Do you want him to beat Leclerc? Those guys will always beat him. So he's coming 10th. He's beating other people, Bortoletto and Co. What are your thoughts, Kunle? What are your thoughts, John?
Yeah, he's beating other people. I don't want to focus too much on Tsunoda, but he still needs to be coming between, let's say, 5th and 7th. I still think 10th is a little bit low. But yes, Red Bull have weathered the storm in terms of personnel changes in Horner and their new look. Yes, they have shown loyalty to their drivers, although still I still have my own criticism. It's too much about driver 1 and Red Bull. Driver 2 needs to improve for me to be
Of course,
satisfied.
it's about that. Let me tell you something, Kunle. They've got the best driver, maybe the best driver who ever lived.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying driver 2 should still come
They've got
closer.
the
I
best
mean,
driver.
they had
Look
the
what
one
happened.
in
Look what
2023.
happened when
It was a
Senna
lot.
and Prost drove together. They almost destroyed that team. So they had to get rid of those 2 guys to be Red Bull. Red Bull. We have to remember then. This guy was coming second when the car was doing well, Checo. So they made a mistake with their car, which is going to take a long time to correct. And I'm sorry, Tsunoda doesn't have the talent to go head to head with Verstappen anyway. Haja will
Yeah,
do
I'm not
better.
about going head to head. I'm not about him going head to head.
Well, he
I'm
doesn't even
just
have
about
the
him
talent. He
finishing
doesn't
about
have the
three
talent
positions
to.
higher.
He doesn't
I'm
have the
saying he should
talent.
average about 3 positions better about. Not that he should challenge
Well,
Verstappen.
he doesn't have the talent. It's not about focusing more on Verstappen. And he came in halfway through the season. So that was the mistake. And these are all mistakes that Horner made. Starting Liam Lawson at the beginning of the year. That was wrong. They should have put Tsunoda there at the beginning of the year. Also, getting rid of Checo, that was wrong. If Checo was still here, he would be coming 7th or 6th.
Yeah, we all
So these are
discussed that issue about that. That we
and
felt was a
those are
bit
problems
racist
that
to at that
Horner
time.
made. Horner is gone. The reason Red Bull is doing well now, simple, is because of Verstappen and Helmut Marko. That's the nucleus of that team. If they lose Verstappen, they're going to go to the bottom of the grid immediately. So they have to keep Verstappen because if they don't, it's going to destroy them. So they have to please him by making him the number one. He's won 4 years in a row being the number one driver and being the favorite driver. And he started losing because of bad feedback and bad wind tunnel. So we'll see what happens next year. But right now, Red Bull is considered to be the 3rd best in engine development for next year, behind Mercedes and McLaren. What are your thoughts, Mr. Johnny?
Yeah. Oh, um, I forgot what I was going to say.
I was going to say that watch out for the Aston Martins and the Williamses. I'm just
But yeah,
curious
Aston
if
Martin,
they're going to start
of
mixing
course.
it up
I'm
with
not saying
those
that Red
guys.
Bull is the best team right now. Aston Martin is better than Red Bull, definitely, and also Aston Martin is quiet. Newey and their guys are doing things. That you have that team is stable too. Lance Stroll has been there for 5 or 6 years. Alonso has been there for 3 or 4 years, and they're quietly doing their work. They're not out here.
Beware of my family too. My family team as well are very dangerous. So my family team, Williams, they are very,
Well,
very
yeah, Williams
dangerous
too,
because I see
but
them
Williams
popping
doesn't
up
have.
in fifth.
They don't
You
have the
know,
money. Yeah, Williams
yeah,
is going
but
to
I
be
mean
dead
that
next
can
year.
all change. That
Yeah.
can all change. They
Oh
they
yeah.
they have
Oh,
the background.
oh yeah.
If they can
The point I'm
source
making
good
though
sponsors,
is that
they can
they were
get
just
back in
talking
there.
to Red Bull
I'd love
today.
to see them unite with a team like Lotus or something like that.
No,
I
that's not
miss
going to
Lotus.
happen. Williams has Mercedes engine. What are you going to say, Johnny? Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought kind of like Verstappen was being poached by Mercedes.
Oh, he may
So
still
that, I
go
mean,
2 years from now. He may still
you
go.
know,
Yeah, but I get the
so
feeling that if Verstappen leaves, he's going to leave. He's not going to say, "Oh, Red Bull is rubbish. This car sucks. I'm leaving." He's going to leave because it's just like maybe I do a show with you guys. Maybe somebody offers. Maybe I say, "Hey, come join ESPN F1. We've got a bit." I'll say, "Guy, I gotta go. Sorry." That's how you leave a team. You get my point. He won't throw them under
yeah,
the bus. If he goes to Mercedes, he'll do it because it's the most practical thing. Sort of like, let's say, like,
okay,
this
I
guy
got
Williams,
you, I
Nico
got
Williams.
you.
Nico Williams plays for Valencia or some team in Spain. Barcelona keeps calling him, and he told his mommy, I like my team, I want to stay. But after a while, they said, man, you want to go to World Cup, you want to win a Champions League, your team doesn't have the money, you have to leave. Nobody's going to argue because Red Bull Verstappen wanted to leave this year, and Red Bull begged him. They said, stay one more year and give us one more chance, and he said, okay. Do you see what I'm saying? Did you see after the race? Did you see how all the engineers and everybody were hugging Verstappen after he won? It was as if he had won the world championship. That's what you do as a
That was
driver.
like,
There in the paddock with the engineers, the mechanics, and the way they hugged him, you could tell that these guys love each other. When McLaren went, they pump their fist, go in and then they go in and take off their hat and weigh themselves and do that. Verstappen was rolling in the crowd with his team. So what I'm saying is not that Red Bull is going to win, but they have a very good team spirit. What are you going to say, Mr. Johnny? Sorry. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's all fine. Hopefully, the car that they come up with next year will be enough to keep Verstappen in Red Bull, because and then do they have enough engineers to make that happen for next year's
I
own,
don't know. Yeah.
that kind of thing,
I have a
So
feeling
it's all
though.
about,
I have a feeling that,
yeah.
and he can't do this, but I think Verstappen wants. I think he wants to just stay because Verstappen is a creature of habit. He's been working with his dad since he was young, doing the same. He doesn't want to change his environment. If he goes to Mercedes or Aston Martin, it's going to be a change. He's going to have to readapt. But I think he would rather stay with Red Bull. And also Verstappen has family values. Like he went with PK, who had a daughter. Her daughter is basically his daughter. Now he's with her, has a child with her. He stays at home. He doesn't travel. So he's sort of like a conservative person who doesn't like change. So I think he wants to stay with Red
Mhm.
Bull. And he even said that, I remember he said that when Helmut Marko was fighting Horner, he said if Helmut Marko leaves, he's leaving. So I don't think he wants to leave, but I think he's going to be forced to leave. This is like mythology where like Frodo didn't want to carry the ring. They said, you got to carry that every. So Verstappen would be like, I don't want to leave the team. Mommy, I want to stay here. Nah, man, you have to leave. That's what it is in F1. There's never been one person who stays on one team forever. If he wants to win 8 championships, he's going to have to leave Red Bull because Aston Martin and Mercedes have too much money. What do you think, Kule?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing actually. That my fear for Red Bull is that they become so dependent on him that if he does decide to leave, they are in big trouble.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Verstappen, for all the things you said about him, is a compulsive winner. And if
yeah,
that car is not competitive, I think he will be loyal to them towards for the rest of this season, and he will
yeah,
say that he's done good by them. But
yeah.
if next season comes and he doesn't feel confident that this Red Bull are going to do something, he might still walk.
Oh yeah, he'll walk.
I
He'll
think
walk.
he can walk for free if he finishes under fourth position, and he's set up to do just that right now because I think the McLarens and the Ferraris are ahead of him, so he can actually walk away and he can still win one or two races and still stay in that position
Do
and
you
do
know
the
what?
same thing.
Verstappen will
So
never
Red
throw a
Bull are
race.
not clean and dry. They're not clean and dry with this driver. And if they're not clean and dry with this driver, their team and their future is not even if he signs a contract, we know these contracts can be
Yeah.
torn up
Oh yeah,
at a
they
whim
can buy it
if
out.
something
Yeah.
else,
Let
yes,
me
if
tell you
something
what's going
else
to
comes
happen. Let me tell you what Red Bull needs to do. They need to bring in Lindblad, who's the best junior. Lindblad is tearing up F2 at the age of 18. Bring him to Racing Bulls and let Liam Lawson be his mentor. That's Liam Lawson's job.
Wow.
Liam Lawson's job will be perpetual. And then they need to move Haja there. And Haja, they need to pump all of their money into developing Haja. Haja and Lindblad are the future of Red Bull because we know, like you said, Verstappen is leaving. Haja is the next person. This is not the first time that they've had a superstar. They had Vettel. Then for years they were losing. Then they had Verstappen. Then now they're losing. So now if they're smart, they will focus on Lindblad and Haja because Haja has the skill. We're not going to say to be a world champion. That's not success. Success isn't measured by being a world champion. It's just by pushing that car and coming top three. Haja can come top three if you give him the right car. That's the best. And Haja is not going to be as good as I don't think he's going to have the level of talent that Vettel and Verstappen had, but he's a very good driver. And it's time to give him a shot. He's the best driver they have. If to be honest with you, they need to bring in like they said, they need to bring in. There was rumors that they would bring in Piastri. They need to at some point bring in Piastri or Leclerc. That's what I think they need to do. To be honest with you, if they want to bring somebody from the outside, because I have a feeling Leclerc is going to leave Ferrari. You know, I think This Sainz said that Red Bull was trying to bring him in after Ferrari ditched him, but somebody on the team didn't want him. No, they're not saying who it is. People think it's Verstappen. I don't think it's Verstappen. I think it was Horner. That's what I think. They wanted Sainz to come to Red Bull, and Sainz says he doesn't think it's Verstappen because he's driven with Verstappen doesn't run away from competitors. But what he will do is he may want you. And Sainz said he was even open to the idea of being a number two for a year or so with Red Bull. That would have been good to have somebody like a Sainz there who also gives feedback to the team. All right, we're almost done now. Last thoughts, Mr. Johnny.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it all depends on what kind of car that they will give Ferrari. Look, what I want to find out. My last thought was on I never had this thought of what's his name, Hamilton and Verstappen wanted to buy a team in F1 or just MotoGP F1 or what?
Yeah, no, your MotoGP is the motorcycles. It's like Formula One of motorcycles. Yeah.
Both sides. Interesting.
Yes,
They want to kill themselves.
The one that used to got me into that now.
No, but that goes to show you F1
is
Rossi guys are friends.
Fogarty and all those weirdos.
Valentino Rossi and so on. Yeah. Okay, cool. Interesting.
So that just goes to show you, even though these guys fight on track, all of them are businessmen. They all laugh
of course, man. Yeah. That's
I don't know why I like Carl Fogarty was my biking friend because my favorite racer because he used to.
I like Rossi, the Italian guy.
Valentino Rossi.
Yeah.
He was the dog.
Yeah, he was like.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm so intrigued by what could happen next season. This drama that happened between Piastri and Norris over letting the one side go ahead of the other. Yeah. And they're saying that they're being fair, and Piastri is not complaining, and he says it's all about being fair and gentlemanly. And I just suspect that Verstappen wants to start winning championships again because he wants to be the greatest driver in the world. And the only team that he can do that is McLaren. And he's going to knock somebody out of there. And I don't see McLaren removing Norris. And I do see a repeat of the Senna Prost drama that could happen if Verstappen and Norris start driving in the same team. I mean, it didn't work then. It doesn't mean it'll never work. It would work for the drama, then we'd stop looking with it. But I think it would be a bit disappointing for motorsport to see Piastri removed. I think Piastri, even if he wins the title ahead of Norris, could still go. I really do.
Oh yeah, that's how fucked up McLaren is. That's how fucked up they are.
I really do feel that could happen, and I'm just saying. I'm not saying that Verstappen is going to McLaren, but watch that space because I think that is, if I was Verstappen and I wanted to be the greatest driver, I'd be looking forward to get a driver McLaren. I
Here's
just
the
got to
problem.
say,
McLaren.
it
I
must
think
be
Zach
crossing
Brown.
his mind.
I think Zach Brown. I think the McLaren people, they don't want their drivers to take. I think Zach Brown wants to say it's all me. So I think he'd be jealous of Verstappen. There's some people like that who don't want. They want to prove that they are the ones who win. And it's because of our car, not because of the driver. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I see him going to Aston Martin. What do you think, John? You know what I'm trying to say? That McLaren team is fucked up, man. How can you have a champion and then you're willing to throw him away? Do you see the fact they're treating Piastri, who really is, they're taking points away from him, trying to help the other person. They're trying to help they're trying to help the driver who's not doing as well as the other drivers. So you would think that you would back whoever your best driver is. They're not backing the best driver. And this goes deeper into F1, which is a British sport.
Yeah, they're insinuating for us the other way around. They'd have done the same thing. That's what they're
Nah.
insinuating.
And they're trying to say Hungary. Hungary last year wasn't a title race between two people. You asked somebody in a title race to give up 3 points in that situation, and then
But you
they
believe
said
they're
maybe,
just lying.
no. Then they said maybe because they wanted to compensate Norris for having an oil for his engine failure. Whose fault was that? It wasn't that was just bad luck. His pit stop wasn't bad luck. It was his pit crew fucked up. So why should they be rewarded by giving him back the race? Nah, man.
And what if
That
what
thing
if
makes
he,
me so
what if in
angry.
the process of being slower, some other car had a chance of overtaking it? What if in another situation that's the excuse? Let's say Piastri is now the one that suffers and then expects Norris to slow down, but the team says we can't let Norris slow down because if he slows down, he's going to get caught up with traffic that's trying to get past him. If I was Norris
That's
and that
gonna
happened to
happen.
me, I'd be like, come on, where's the consistency? Because that could happen, and it's going to be like, oh yeah,
It's
all
gonna
right.
happen.
Something like that, just bad luck like that could just happen. And then we'll now start asking, well, are you going to do fair again? How are you going to
No, this guy,
do
it doesn't make sense, man.
yeah.
They should have left it as it was, and it was only 2 laps left. And trust
It's a
me,
lot less effort to have left it to happen because both teams, it doesn't matter who wins the title, so long as you maximize your points and you win the constructors, let them fight it out. They shouldn't have done that. I think it was wrong. It's
you know what Nico Rosberg said? It was funny. He said that now that I see that Piastri let Norris past him, I see that the McLaren drivers, you couldn't hire them to be assassins. He said you couldn't hire them to be assassins.
Imagine you're supporting for Piastri and I'm supporting Norris, and then we start talking like Manu and Arsenal about whose driver is going to be faster, and then that happens and you start celebrating, and then the person you're supporting deliberately allows the win, and then you're there supporting Norris going, yes, I won. What did I win?
So in other words, the fans should ask for their money back. I'm serious. The fans should ask for their money back. All right, let's get out of here. So, Cooley, I think later on we're doing
very bad. All right.
We're doing Man
So
U versus.
it's been an interesting look into the drama surrounding the Monza circuit. On the 21st of September, we're going to Baku in Azerbaijan, another fast circuit. Well, I don't know. It's got one very big straight. And until then, we shall still see what drama ensues in the circus that is international motorsports, Formula One.
Right.
And from myself, Johnny and Mustafa, we bid you farewell, adieu. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Next one. You know, we're doing Man U and Cooley, we're doing Man U and Man City Derby at 7:30. If you want to jump in.
Yeah.
Also, you, Mr. Johnny. I know Mr. Johnny will be chilling.
All right.
That's going to be painful.
Look at my chair. Look at my chair.
Yeah. Come and chip. And
I'll
also,
have a laugh at our expense.
No, that game can go anywhere. I don't know that game is going to be a draw. Man City's not playing well, so we'll see. Okay, bye. Okay.
All right.